Well, I'd like to start calling placeholder bills placeholder bills. What do I mean by that? Quite often, bills introduced in the California state legislature that lack any substantive language in them are just generically referred to as spot bills. However, that's not always the case, even though spot bills and intent bills obviously act as placeholders with substantive amendments to be added at a later date. On occasion, there are also placeholder bills that merely set forth legislative findings and declarations. Now, spot bills make technical changes to an existing statute. They're deemed to be non-substantive changes to the law, and the Office of Legislative Counsel that drafts measures in the California State Legislature has traditionally included in its Legislative Counsel's digest a statement that generally reads, "This bill would make a technical non-substantive change to the law." Other Legislative Counsel deputies describe a spot bill as one that would simply make a non-substantive change to the law, dropping the technical. Intent bills provide just a statement of intent. So the Office of Legislative Counsel includes in its digest a statement that says this bill would state the intent of the legislature to do whatever it does. Now, these intent statements can be general in nature or quite narrow in their descriptions. Some intent bills allow broad leeway to the bill's author about what might later be amended into the bill. For example, a reader might see a bill that says something like, "It's the intent of the legislature to enact a bill relating to transportation or education or revenue and taxation." But in other instances, there's a narrow statement of intent that clearly explains what the bill will ultimately do when the substantive amendments are added to the bill. For example, I saw one that said, "It's the intent of the legislature to conform state tax law to federal tax law modifications that were made to the research and development tax credit enacted by the 2019 Federal Tax Act." It's quite clear, of course, what this current non-substantive bill that's merely a statement of intent will ultimately look like when the substantive language is in there. Now, do we treat these bills differently once introduced? Yes. Bills that are spot bills, intent bills, merely findings and declarations. Bills are not referred to the policy committee. Look at Assembly Rule 51.5, for example. Now, note there's an important exception. Both Assembly Budget Committee intent bills and Senate Budget and Fiscal Review Committee intent bills do get referred to their respective budget committees and then usually are passed over in that intent form to the other house awaiting amendments. Okay, so what's my point in all this? Well, as I've mentioned, there are basically three types of placeholder type bills that are awaiting substantive language: spot bills, intent bills, and findings and declaration bills. Again, they all lack substantive language. So I think they should all be called placeholder bills instead of lumping all three types of bills just simply spot bills, which I don't think, again, is an accurate depiction of them because there are different types of bills, not just spot bills. And so let's refer to them all as placeholder bills.